everybody. You know, every time we say that, I remind myself of Dr. Nick Riviera from The Simpsons. Whenever he used to come on and be like, "Hey, everybody!" Like, okay. I don't know why I just thought of that.
That's funny.
Happy Wednesday.
What up? What up? What up?
Oh my God. So, yeah. So, like, we've had no internet access all night last night. So I've got nothing done in preparation. So no thumbnails, nothing was created yet. So I'll do that all, I guess, tomorrow or tonight if I feel like it. We'll see.
Life happens.
Yeah, I know. I'm just like, and then, you know, my kids wanted to eat. So I tried to, like, do that too.
Kids
today.
wanted to eat? What?
Yeah, I know.
How rude of them. How rude of them.
I know. I don't understand that. What do they think? They, like, live here and I'm responsible for them?
God.
I don't understand.
All these demands.
They are. They're very demanding. They're very, very demanding.
It's a good thing they're cute.
Yeah, well, it's the only thing keeping some of them alive at this point, let me tell you. That and the possible life sentence. So, anyway, popcorn chicken. No. So, happy Wednesday. How's your Wednesday been?
My Wednesday's been okay. I got all my work done today. That's all I care about. I met my numbers.
Nice. Yeah. I can say the same thing. That is exciting.
Indeed. Indubitably.
I'm playing with a Paw Patrol toy here that my daughter left. Here we go. Put that over there. Because she takes over the office at night when nobody else is in it. So that's going to change soon too. I can't wait for that. Oh God! Wow! I'm just like I literally was just running around, and then I was like, oh, I should probably find a decent T-shirt to put on. So I found one. I'm wearing my
deep cleansing
my Regal Beagle shirt. That maybe some people will know what that means.
Oh my God!
Only obviously Angie knows what it is, but I love this shirt so much. Santa Monica, California.
Just about ready to embrace Helen's moo-moos, I think.
Go for it, man.
I don't know. All that fabric makes me nervous.
There's a lot of fabric on this.
It's a lot of fabric. It's a lot of fabric.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I used to call my ex Stanley all the time. Stanley.
She was onto something. But I'm really convinced though that those kind of clothes only look good on like stick thin people, like because they just flow on like I don't know. It just
I wore those after I had my surgery in 2016, and they were so comfortable.
They're comfy.
Oh my God.
They are.
I don't even care if I look like I'm wearing a trash bag. Like
I have a couple of dresses like that when I'm like really hot or like just got out of the shower from after working out really hard or something, and I'm like, I just put it on and I'm like, oh, okay, this is nice. This is nice. I mean, I would say I would probably have worn those after my surgery, but the reality of the situation is I pretty much was naked in a bathrobe for most of the time after I had my surgery, which is pretty much the same thing. Yeah, it worked. It worked for me. So total non-sexual, total tangent. Oh, I can't even speak today. It's been one of those weird days, man. Like I woke up, I went to, so I normally, prior to working, I would stay up very late at night. Well, not very, I would go to bed around like 11:30 midnight. Sometimes later. I would sleep for a couple of hours and then I'd wake up usually around 4 o'clock, 3 and 4:30 and be up for a little while longer and then sleep again until 9 or something because my sleep schedule was all sorts of crazy. So now I'm getting up at 4:45 and working out in the morning and then getting to work by 7:30. And I'm still going to bed at like midnight, and I swear to God, I think it's like the perfect hours of sleep, like that 5 hours, that 4.5 hours. It's like, I don't know. I feel like I'm functioning better. I'm definitely not sleeping more. So who the hell knows? But last night,
yeah, it works.
I went to bed. I must have fallen. Sometimes I fall asleep at like 10 or 10:30. Like I go upstairs around like 10 o'clock. Between 10 and 10:30, I go into the bed. Then, whatever. I must have fallen asleep early yesterday or last night. And I woke up around 1 o'clock in the morning. And I was like, when you wake up and you feel like you've been asleep for so much longer than you have. That's what it was. And then I didn't feel I felt very nauseous. So it was very odd. And then I went back to sleep. And my alarm went off to wake me up early to work out. And I just was not feeling great. So I just went back to sleep. But I swear to God, I feel like I shut my eyes and then the alarm an hour later, the alarm went off again. So it's just a very odd day, very odd start to my morning. Then I went to get my Starbucks and the person in front of me paid for it, which was nice. So that was kind of like a better beginning to the day. And then work was fine. It was great, whatever. But, like when you have those weird nights of sleep, it kind of just skews your day a little bit weirdly,
Yes. Yes.
So, yeah. So it's like kind of it's just like I need a V8 because I'm on an angle. Except that I think vegetable juice is disgusting. But anyway.
I love V8.
I digress. Ugh.
Oh, I love it.
You put some alcohol in that or what? Like
I'm going to put that in my Instacart right now.
Oh, God. Sorry.
I'm going to put some V8 in my Instacart
I'm going to have some ginger ale and peach flavored vodka later, I think.
You're welcome.
Not because of thank you. Not because of my work. It's because my children drive me crazy. Because it's like apparently they miss me a lot when I'm not here. So when I walk in the door, it's like I have to get tackled, and then it's like everybody goes crazy for 20 minutes, screaming, yelling, and I'm like,
it's nice.
It's lovely. I worked when I was working at the daycare before COVID. I still worked. They just got used to it. This family has had too much togetherness. Everybody's got to get used to like. I constantly tell Scott this all the time because my youngest child, Ava, wants to be with us all the time, and but she's fine with other kids and stuff. But she just likes hanging out with us. And I said to Scott last night because I was like, I never hung out with my parents this much. I have no idea like what this is about. Like I don't understand it. I was like. This family, I was like, there's way too much togetherness.
Ava just thinks she's a little grown up.
She does. That's the problem. She's like a 6-year-old lady in a 6-year-old body. Yep. That is it. That's it. That's completely it. I get it. I was like that too, but I did not spend the adults. I wasn't seeking out my parents really. And whatever. It's just a lot. So I'm just kind of like, ugh. And work is relatively quiet. Except for like if we talk, but I have my so I come home and it's like loud noises everywhere.
Yes.
Right. So anyway, so that's kind of how like my day has been a little off today. But yeah, I digress. So how's life been the last 48 hours for you?
I can't complain. I've been finding myself, working from home is a challenge for me to get up on time. So I've been finding myself waking up at 9 o'clock. And I think, like you said, it's that like when you wake up and then you hit the snooze button and then you hit the snooze button and then it's 9 o'clock and you're like, shit, I shouldn't have hit the snooze button that last time. Damn it. So
yeah, I feel like sleeping more just fucks your whole day up more than if you just would have gotten up and been tired, right? Like,
yes. If I'd have just gotten up, if I just, and like I hit this, my snooze is an hour, and like my snooze is not 5 minutes. Like I set my snooze for an hour. So it's a lot of snooze. So I'm working on not hitting the snooze that last time, and so I've been, got up at 8 o'clock today, and I got a lot, and it's crazy. I get like exponentially more work done the earlier I go to work. So I'm trying to back it up to like get to work at like 7 o'clock. Cool. Because then I get like a crap ton of work done.
You're obviously a morning person. You just been denying it.
Yeah, I'm in denial about it. But I'm not going to speak it out because I'll have to talk to my therapist about it because I'm not ready to.
Yeah, I'm not ready to embrace this side of my personality.
I'm not ready for it yet. Not ready.
All
So,
right.
but
Well, I have to say you look better today. Like you look happier. You look like
I
you're
feel
in a
better
happy
today.
yeah, you can tell. I
Yeah.
love it. I love it.
Yes. I learned something today
Oh, tell me.
that I think will segue us into our topic nicely.
Okay, good. Tell me.
I learned that there are 22,000 YouTubers with more than 1 million subscribers.
Really?
Yes.
That's a lot.
Yes, that's a lot. And that's a lot more than I would have thought.
It's a lot, but it's not almost, but it almost feels like it's not a lot. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean,
but I don't know.
There's
do you know how many
40 million channels.
Oh, all right,
There's
that's
got to be like 40 million
like,
channels by now.
22,000 out of what?
But that's like
that's a little, yeah.
Well, I mean, that's what I mean. It's more than I thought, because there's like, I don't even know how many there are with 5 million and 10 million.
Oh, I don't know. I have, I'm sure there's data. Somebody's got data someplace.
Mm-hmm.
We should look that up. I should look that up. Well,
yeah.
I am a librarian and I do have a keyboard in front of me. So go ahead.
And I know somebody who knows how to get this stuff.
Talk to me about what you want. Tell me this. So, all right, 22,000.
Well, I mean, we're going to talk about, how we as subscribers get so invested in the people we watch. Can you imagine having a million subscribers?
So I just did a really quick search, and Wikipedia actually gives me the I'm gonna have to look for a date here on this, but it gives the 50 as of June 13th, 2021. Okay, so this is relatively new. The top 50 most subscribed channels, and here's the interesting part here. So the first one is T-Series, which you might remember. T-Series and PewDiePie had that thing going back and forth. They have 185 million subscribers.
I only heard about PewDiePie 2 years ago.
Okay. Then Cocomelon, which is hysterical because I can't stand that channel. But anyway, it's a kids channel with 113. PewDiePie is third with 110. SET India 107. So those are the top 4. And then it drops pretty dramatically to number 5 being the Kids Diana Show, which has 79.7 million subscribers. Wow. So there's only 4 YouTubers up there with in the hundreds of millions. And then the next numbers 4 through 9 are in the 70s. It's between 79 and 72 million, and then we go between 68. So there's not a whole lot, there's not a lot here. So, but in the top 50, the lowest, the 50th one has 39.5 million subscribers.
And that's why I was surprised by 22,000.
Yeah, and I have to say, looking at this list, let's just take a little look here. Number 6 is the WWE. Justin Bieber's number 12. Let's see. Sony SAB is 22. Ping Fong, and the kids one is 24. Choo Choo TV. I swear to God, these kids channels are raking this shit in here. And I know all of these channels because my kids liked it. Then Ariana Grande is 26. Eminem's 27. Ed Sheeran's 28. So now we're talking celebrities, right? Taylor Swift is 36. Billie Eilish, Katy Perry, Brightside. So I mean, it's a good mixture of. It looks like a good mixture of celebrities and independent channels.
Independent kids channels.
Yeah, right. So that's that. So let's see. Milestones, reactions. So PewDiePie hit 50 million subs in December of 2016. T-Series hit 150 million in August of 2020. Huh.
That's
interesting.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. All right, so list of most subscribed YouTube music and list of most views. So that's subscribers. Now it's not. That's not views.
Not views.
Let's see. All right, so the most viewed channels, T-Series is still number 1 with 156 billion views. Coco Melon is number 2 with 103, and then it drops. Number 3 is SET India, which is Sony Pictures Network India, with 87 billion. So there is a bit of a drop between the top 2. And there's Ryan's World. Damn, yeah, that kid. I'm telling you,
that kid
number
is
11. That kid is like, my kids love him, and I'm just like, damn. So there's a pretty big disparity once you get out of the
subscribers to views.
Yeah, let's do this. Let me see this one. Let me do one more quick and dirty since we're talking about it. How many YouTube channels have at least 1 million subscribers? See, this is my library science secret. I know how to Google.
I'm so terrible at it.
Okay, so let's see. What's the date on this? Blah, 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 blah. This is from January 7th, but let me see if I can get something a little bit. Okay, I'm just going to go with this from January. We can extrapolate from there if we need to. All right, so this is from January, and it's how many YouTube channels have over 1 million subscribers. Okay. All right, so let's see. Oh, there's like some insane math has to happen to figure this out. But anyway, do you have an answer? This is like somebody wrote an article about this. Okay. So if Social Blade said, according to Social Blade,
on the Tubix.com blog in November 2020, it says 22,000.
It says here, with that in mind, we can assume the number of YouTube channels with 1 million or over is between 23 to 24,000 channels. All right. Well,
yeah, I see that.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's a lot lower than I thought. How many? I wonder if the actual YouTube channel. How many YouTube channels exist? Let's see. I'm just for shits and 37 million YouTube channels. So as of 2020, there are more than 37 million YouTube channels. The number of channels is growing strong. It grew in 2019 over 23%. Okay, well, that's insane. That's insane. Yeah, that's 15 million creators.
No barrier to entry.
Yeah, 15 million creators upload 80 million videos every month. That's insanity. All right, so it's a huge landscape. So that number is actually pretty small. You're right. So let's do some down and dirty math here because I am not a math
Hey, big
person.
boss.
Hey, big boss. So what did I say? We said 37 million?
37 million.
Okay. So that's only like times. That's like oh God.
Oh, she's doing the hard stuff.
Doing math. So
she's doing the hard stuff.
Right? 37 divided by 22 is 1.68. So that's what? Like one, maybe almost 2%? That's not a lot.
1.5%.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
round
that's
down.
not a lot. Yeah.
Round down, baby. Round down.
Yeah. So that's not a lot. That's really small in comparison. Okay. So so this does seg nicely into what we're talking about because a lot of the YouTubers that we've seen have controversy lately, it seems, are not necessarily channels that have hit 1 million. Like, yes, some have. There have been some big controversies, but they're kind of in that space of like the 300,000 to 1 million space, right? Like, it's not these these enormous channels because I feel like
it's kind of middle class. They're
like
kind of
middle
class.
Yeah, you're right.
They're the upper middle class of YouTube.
But there are plenty of large channels, Jeffree Star, that get into all sorts of controversy. Shane Dawson, but I don't. That people seem to like that have been for quite some time, and the reckoning has only started to come. I think like massive reckoning coming. All right, go ahead. Finish it. Stay. I just feel like it seems to me like when I see people getting upset, so let's just jump right in. So we're going to talk about the Creepshow Art situation here. Okay, guys, that's what we're going to talk about. And this is but there's an aspect of it that both of us are very fascinated with. And that is the parasocial situation, relationships that happen between YouTubers and their audiences. And at her height, she had over 500,000 subs. So nothing to sneeze at. Absolutely not. Great achievement, but not a million sub channel at all, right? Like we're not talking in the grand scheme, not a huge like juggernaut of a channel here. We're not talking like, 20 million. Right. Yeah. Fire trucks. The Shane Dawson thing was weird to me though, because his problematic content was online for years before anyone got upset. I think with that, and I think it's like the changing culture of like what people were. I mean, I don't find any of his stuff acceptable. I thought it was all terrible. But and I'm not defending him at all because I think he knew he was problematic and still went with it. But I think that people's attitudes and what was acceptable changed a lot in the last couple of years, like seriously changed a lot. But I have no love for him or any of his content. I think it was all very inappropriate to me. Somebody he should have known better. But anyway, so we're not talking about a huge channel here. But it just seems like when we hear about like Creepshow Art, we hear about similar channels. It always strikes me how upset people get about this. Like they really and I'm not talking anger because of what's going on. I'm talking like hurt, like really and truly personally getting hurt by it. And it's interesting because I guess I just don't consider YouTube that way. I mean, I don't know. Like, I mean, is it comparable? We're older, so it might not be something that we can get in some ways. Although I would like to liken it to like, having like some kind of feelings towards like, a music group or like an actor or actress that you followed or an author you find out they do something wrong and you take it, you're upset because that was meaningful to you.
Did you have the chance to watch that video?
Which one? The one about
the one I sent you?
Yes, I did watch that. And I agree with it 100%. I agree with everything 100%.
I'm looking for it in my history so I
got it right here. Okay. I'll give you the title of it. It's Creepshow Art Didn't Trick Us. We Kind of Tricked Ourselves. That's the let me see if I can get it up in my thing really fast.
That is pretty much the long and the short of it.
It's by Pandozzi. Here. Pandozzi. So she has 2.43 thousand subs, and she's gotten this. This video has been very popular. She's got 75,000 views on it because I think she makes some good points here. And I think that Angie, you said this when we were talking about this off stream. Was that, and I think you hit the nail on the head, is that with social media, unlike having, say, I mean, although it's different today, but like, unlike when we like, really standing a band or an author or what actor or something like that, now that we have social media and it's everywhere and everybody has a platform, even our favorite actors and actresses, even if they're not the ones running their platforms, they're still there on a presence, is that you have more of a sense that you can really interact with these people in some sort of way that you weren't able to before social media was popular, right? Like, this is not the fan club days, writing a letter, gone are those days, right? So you feel like a connection, I think, deeper because, you might get a tweet retweeted by someone or they might respond to you and, hey, Lane.
Hey, Lane.
All right. You get this interaction that you may not expect. And you feel, I know people who've gotten stuff retweeted and be like, oh my God, so-and-so retweeted me, you responded, and it's cool. And even I've had that moment because I'm just like, but it's more, to me, that moment's more like, I can't believe they're even like paying attention to like what random person on social media is saying, right? So, but with YouTubers, it's kind of a little different because their whole thing is having to kind of build an audience and a community that keeps coming back. So interaction is kind of a very big piece of the puzzle there.
Right.
And, you know, having interacting and trying to build up a relationship, as superficial as it may
Hi, Dave.
be. Hi, Dave. Yeah, he's outside. May be, you know, it does become meaningful to people because, you know, they're getting something out of that. So to see people get really upset and hurt by it, it's not something I don't understand. I just find it fascinating because I think a lot of that also has to do with what audiences feel they're entitled to know, entitled to see, entitled to ask questions about, what they expect to get from these creators, and the ability that we have, or we end up having, of forgetting that this, even though they may seem like they put a tremendous amount of their lives online, there's a tremendous amount of their lives that are not online, and we are not privy to all of that. But we make a lot of assumptions based on what they show us. And we put a lot of expectations on them based on what they show us. And I think that's why it hits different when something goes south. I think it hits a lot different, you know?
Yes.
And I think that, and I don't know, you know, I'm sure there's something there to this. What you'll probably talk about in a few seconds, or I know you have this opinion on, about like how we let these folks get away with stuff that we would not normally get away with. But the more I think about it, the more I wonder, do we, you know, a lot of people, you know, I've let my friends get away with bullshit before because they're my friends, right? I mean, like, you feel a certain way about somebody and you kind of put the blinders on a little bit.
Right.
The difference is my friends are usually in my physical world in some way, and not just somebody I see on a screen. But I mean, it does make sense that we allow that to happen, right? I mean, we feel a certain way about somebody. They share their lives with us, so we feel a sense of intimacy, as false or fake or as contrived as that is. And we let them get away with stuff that we would let our friends get away with.
Right.
And then we end up in situations like this.
Right.
Right? I mean,
right. Well, there's two things that I want to say. And the first one is of course we want to let, you know, we all do that with our friends, you know. And what is her name again? The video that we
Pandozzi. I'll put it in
Pandozzi. So she made such good points about how we see these people and we identify with these people. Oh, I'm like, oh, we got 2 new people in the chat. Lane, I miss you. Anyway, that's something, you know, here we go, identifying. But anyway, we see these people, they let us into our lives, and because we're watching them, we identify with them, we see ourselves in them. We're good people, they must be good people. We let things go, and then we end up in this situation. And then there's this element of mob mentality where, like, if we don't, all of a sudden everybody else is mad, so we have to be mad, because if we're not, then we're just as bad as they are because the mob says so, you know. And Creepshow is separate. Creepshow is separate, right? Like, because that's a whole nother issue that we'll talk about in a minute. But if we don't jump on the bandwagon, so to speak, and destroy somebody's reputation, destroy somebody's business, destroy somebody's channel or whatever, because everybody else is mad at them, there's no room for, I mean, because sometimes cancellation is needed. Like, I don't know, like, and then other times it's not. It's just not. It's just a bunch of people looking for things to be outraged about.
Right.
The other thing that I wanted to bring up was, like, how you mentioned Jeffree and Shane, and people like Jeffree, Shane, Trisha. they're different. And I'm just going to put them in a different league because they are not the upper middle class. They're the upper class. Right. They're people with 16, 25, 20 million subscribers. And they do the shit that they do, and they just keep doing it. They get canceled, and they keep going, and people continue to subscribe. People continue to support.
Yeah, and
there are other people who get canceled, and they're gone. Yeah. They're gone, and they lose everything. And I think that's the difference, right? Like people will cancel Jeffree Star, and he will launch a new palette, and it will sell out in 3 minutes. Like, right. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't.
And they've also been around for a while too. I mean, I think with Shane, you know, he's been around for so long that there's just people who have like watched him from day one and have literally grown up watching his content and feel like, you know, it's, you know, some people are heartbroken by what happened, and then other people are like, you know, it's not a cancel for me. It's just you know, we move on.
You know, if you're going to go back into somebody's past and you're going to cancel them, cancel Harvey Weinstein for what he did in the 70s. But Shane Dawson, he's just, you know, I don't want to have anything to do with him personally, but I never did. So I've got no desire to now.
Yeah, I guess it's hard for me because I can't, like, if somebody has if I have a problem, if I find a YouTuber or somebody on some kind of any social media platform problematic, I just stop watching or block them or whatever. I don't feel so connected that I can't do that. You know, like there's nobody out there making, like, have I said, oh, that's disappointing because I actually thought they might be making good content, or I thought that, you know, maybe, or it's for me, it's always been like, oh, that's disappointing that's how they really feel because they came across as so much more smarter or better than that, and now they're shitty people, so can't support that. Bye. I mean, I'm not like I'm not broken up about it, but you know, again, it just might be because I have not really found that kind of connection, or I'm past that point in my life. Like, I'm older that I don't really feel like that's not. I'm past that point. I think, you know, I think if I was younger, it would be different. But it's just I think that's also, it's part. You know, I hate to be this, but it's part of like, it's almost part of like puberty and growing up too, right? To like get attached to certain things or feel like certain ways about it, and then you know, you hit a point, and I guess I'm at that age where these things just don't mean anything to me. That was me. I grew up watching, was the teen when he first started. I fell off watching because his content, I mean, as you get older and grow and mature and change, you know, things change. And
I'm all for those who watch him now, holding him accountable. Absolutely. And if that changes his content, and if it causes him to reflect on himself and feel like he needs to make changes in who he is, I think that's awesome. But I don't think that it's going to make him change, because I don't think public shaming makes people change. I just don't. I mean,
really, is he really taking a huge hit too? I mean, like, that's the thing, right? Like,
no, he's got 20 million.
Well, I'm saying, like, I mean, you know, it's
not that the subscriber count matters. It's
the views, but it's the same thing when you talk about like boycotting any kind of business or something. They're not going to give a shit until
you go out of business,
right? Or take a financial hit. Really, it's not going to matter. Right. And that's the same thing. Like, unless Jeffree and Shane are really losing a shit ton of money over all of this, you're right. I don't think they're going to change anything. I mean, Jeffree has gotten the apology, I'm sorry, come back thing down to like a science.
Exactly.
So, you know, he's not going anywhere. Like, he really isn't. I mean, and the honest to God thing is, it's like, you know, unless, I mean, I don't know. Like, it's not even like he'd miss the money he's making, right? So, like, I mean, honestly, but anyway,
we as viewers have to take responsibility for our expectations, and we don't know these people, and we're never going to know these people. And these people don't owe us a damn thing. Google signs their checks. We don't sign their checks.
Right.
I have YouTube Premium. I don't watch ads as it is. I don't sign anybody's checks. I'm responsible for myself, and I'm responsible for my behavior. And that's it. These people owe me nothing. Mary, you owe me nothing. Like, come on. Like, give me a break. I cannot be held accountable to 328 million people whose faces I've never seen. And I'm not going to be. And I can't expect that any random person that I watch on YouTube just because they hearted a comment is accountable to me.
Right.
And it's, as a viewer, we have to be responsible for that.
We do.
We simply have to.
But this is like, you know, after watching Pandozzi's video and thinking about this and talking about this right now, you know, this is like the same argument we've been having forever since fame even happened. Like, we put the wrong people up on pedestals, right?
For
like,
the wrong reasons.
For the wrong reasons. But this has been from like the dawn of time. Like, you know.
It's so much worse now because
it is so much worse now.
Everyday people.
Yeah.
It's just everyday people. And even celebrities are just everyday people, but they at least have a community amongst themselves that they can like connect to each other and deal with it. They have all the cocaine they need to deal with this.
And I think the ones who are smart, and I think the ones who are smart, celebrities who are smart about it, really either farm out that social media to somebody else to do, like PR people, or just generally stay away from it because so much of their lives are already out in the public that they try to desperately hold on to anything that they can keep out of the public view. So, you know, there are, when you think about I mean, like every celebrity has a Twitter or whatever, but you know, you can tell when it's not them. I mean, like, you know, they keep it up there for, you know, a lot of them probably have to do it for PR purposes for when they do projects and stuff like that. But I mean, you know, I think that between any kind of press they do when they have projects out and then just in general life, they are just, you know, they try to keep some little space that's theirs, right?
Yeah.
At least the smart ones do. The ones who are handling celebrity the right way do, you know.
And the ones who can handle celebrity and being out there all the time and like who's that, Chrissy Teigen or whatever, doing like if you can live like that and you can
I mean, we've always been a celebrity obsessed culture. Yeah. Social media makes it worse because the access to that obsession is way, way more than it's ever been.
And then we put that on these random people who live in studio apartments and have beer bottles stacked to the ceiling.
Yeah.
Because I got my glitter obsession of beer stacked to the ceiling.
But I mean, I'm just saying, like, you know, gone are the days of, it's not about like, you know, for celebrities themselves, for, you know, it used to be like famous people, movie stars, whatever, they would be outed in like the rags, right? The print rags. Now we have internet access. So, you know, it takes 5 seconds to out anything. Anything happens, we know about in 5 seconds. So that's where it's taking a really crappy turn. Right. But let's double back to Creepshow Art. Yeah, I think there is something we can. There's something to be said there. The difference
stops where it becomes a crime.
Well, that, and I also think that there's another problem. And while we do see a lot of atrocious behavior that's been happening with our little YouTube cancel culture situations lately, and some of it also are crimes. I'm not gonna but I think that this one came so visceral to a lot of people because I think they really enjoyed her content or, you know, liked the tea that she was spilling or whatever. But I think what really sealed her fate was the fact that, which is the same thing that always seems to happen. It's like the pride before the fall is, you know, you can't get up there and act like you're the moral high ground for every single person on the planet that's watching you or that you watch, and then turn around and do the exact same thing and think you're not going to get called on it even worse than, I mean, that's what makes it worse, right? Like, forget about, you know, there's plenty of people who are loving every minute of this because of the fact that they just never like her, right? But then there's an entirely other segment of people who are loving every minute of this because they found her to be a virtue signaling judgmental bitch and are loving seeing that come back and kick her in the ass. Like, karma's a bitch, right? So, so like, you know, and then, yeah, Lane, for me, for me, it's more like, holy shit, can this crap get any more insane? Like, that is, I'm more like, wow, with the amount of lies and fuckery you're in, I can't believe you are totally okay with having a YouTube channel that 500,000 people are watching because, oh my God, like, you were going to get found out. I don't know how, like, to me, if I was doing like,
went so long.
on the DL a lot.
How she went so long without getting caught is beyond.
I mean, and it just gets worse every single day. And, you know, so let's do the 5-sec recap.
Well, I was just going to say, I'm going to post in the chat the links to Omnia. She did 3 videos that give very detailed review of everything that happened with Creepshow. You go.
So if you're not a YouTube fanatic or hang out on a completely different
weirdo like we are,
or hang out on a different part of YouTube, although I swear to God, every single part of YouTube is talking about this right now. It's like ridiculous. Creepshow Art is an art channel run by a girl named Shannon who does like she would do speed draws while telling story times over them. And so she started out doing like story times about her life and whatnot, and then it kind of became tea, and then it kind of became more virtue signaling and then it became kind of calling out people for behavior that she deemed problematic. And the problem was that she didn't always have the best research, evidence, or actual facts on her side. So she caused problems for lots of people unjustly. And like when I say like she got hate mobs started after people, she really did get hate mobs started. When you know that you have a certain type of audience demographic that really lives for this shit, you know, you just point them in the right direction and off they go. But so it turns out that for at least the last 2.5, 3 years, these are all allegations, but again, I'm just going to straight out say that I believe all of it. I think the evidence is pretty alarming and pretty indicts her pretty badly. But
it's pretty damning.
It's pretty damning. She has been posting. So she's on LOLCal, which is a like 4chan-esque type board, which allows you to post anonymously, and it's a board that people used to talk shit. Like it's kind of like Kiwi Farms, except anonymous, without having to make profiles or whatever. And so they have some rules on that board because even if they're going to talk shit, they're going to have rules that they got to follow. And some of them are, you don't dox people. You don't white knight yourself. You don't come on and lie, pretend to be somebody else. You don't white knight for yourself. You don't come on and, advertise or do any kind of promotion for your channel or anything that's going on. And don't post as, pretending to be someone else that you're not, So she had posted on there in response to some posts about her. She has a thread on there, and in several kinds of threads, she got discussions where she made it very obvious and stated it was her. So they knew it was her posting. Everybody knew it was. But apparently for the last 2.5 years, she's posted over 300 posts where she's talked shit about her friends and other people and used racially charged language and slurs and all sorts of things that she calls other people out for constantly. And basically what happened was the moderators over there, the admins got fucking fed up with her coming on there and white knighting for herself and pretending to be somebody else and fighting with herself. And she doxed her sister. And I think that was the end of it. They pulled her They pulled her IP address. They're able to see all of her cookie information because they're the admins of the site, so they have this shit. And they were able to trace back her IP addresses over several years across several devices and matched it to her. So there's way videos that have talked about this. It's all over the place. Just type in Creepshow Art on YouTube and you'll find it. But they've done this before. This is actually kind of like a standard operating procedure for this site if they've had enough of your bullshit. And they use it's pretty sound technically of how they are able to prove it. And so her reaction was to say that she's talked about her stalker before, but she blamed this on her stalker of 8 years who spoofed her IP address, which is hysterical. Because while spoofing IP addresses is not impossible by any means, the length and duration of time that she's claiming this happened and for a pointless payoff that was done for this, it's just stupid. Like the amount of technical skill her stalker would need to have to do this for the length of time across the number of devices, and to do so would be great. And to do nothing, to just post as somebody else, so she maybe gets found out later that So it's all like very bad, poor, weak ass like excuses. And as far as I'm concerned, and many other YouTubers or other people who are way more tech savvy than I am have explained that this is just not probable and probably impossible for the level of what's going on here. So as soon as that broke, the subs started bleeding like crazy. And that started on, I remember I started the week of my birthday. So it was like June 6th or 7th.
I think it was June 6th.
They posted the thread. So LOL Cal Mods posted a thread. They pulled all of her posts, put them in a nice thread, and said, here's all the posts that Shannon's made, Creepshow has made, and here you go. They were like, we're tired of your bullshit. This is what happens. And it went public. And that was bad because she talked a lot of shit about a lot of people she considered close friends. She used some very, very nasty transgender slurs and terms and said some really not so nice things about types of classes of people that she was at least on her channel adamantly defending and yelling at other people for, and having fights and canceling people for the same type of behavior. And then, as this got out more and more and people started talking, more and more allegations started coming out from people who've had experiences with her. What's her name? Peaches. What's Lovely Peaches was
not Lovely Peaches.
Not Lovely Peaches.
No, not Lovely Peaches.
I can't remember her name. Not Lovely Peaches.
Honest.
Peaches.
Honest.
Hold on. I'm terrible here. Sorry guys, no prep was done because I had no internet access.
I didn't watch any of her videos.
Normally I would Hopeless Peaches. Sorry. Hopeless Peaches was a creator
Peaches.
Yeah, no, sorry.
He's in jail.
Hopeless Peaches was a creator that Creepshow Art had an issue with and started a whole big shebang with, and got a cancel mob going for her. And the whole time she was like, this is bullshit. And she tried to defend herself. And now she's kind of come back around again to talk about it. And as like, see, I told you. But not being like that, but being like, this is what the reality is. Like, she says this, but she's a liar. So basically, more and more lies came uncovered. And then, out of
Emily Artful.
Emily Artful, right? Is that her name? Emily Artful comes out with a Twitter post saying that basically, I'm totally paraphrasing. Go check out any videos that are on this. There's so many. But basically saying that she's not shocked at all by this behavior. She's shocked that it's come out, and she's like basically freaking out, like anxiety, like, just because for the last 8 years, Shannon and her husband, who the fuck knows, because we don't know, have been stalking Emily Artful.
Shannon claims she has is Shannon and has been stalking Emily.
Right. So Shannon has made several videos talking about her stalker and all the stuff that her stalker, who was Amy.
Well, Shannon made one
Shannon.
video about her stalker after Emily made a video or made some Twitter posts.
Emily alluded to having a
stalker
and Twitter.
3 days later, Shannon made a video about it.
And she's talked about it more than once. I know that. Like, I know. So Shannon's stalker was named Amy. And, you know, it's interesting how Amy did all the same things or very similar things to Shannon that, you know, Emily has experienced from her stalker, who she has had proof for some time is actually Shannon and Shannon's partner, who happens to be Emily Artful's ex. So that's a whole other level of crazy right there. But
who was her original stalker?
Right. Who was her original stalker? It's one of those situations where it seems like crazy ex was still obsessed, got the next girlfriend involved, and then like, or you know, Shannon might have this predisposition to be this way, and then just kind of hooked up with somebody else who was just and they just fed into each other's behavior, which seems to be my feeling a lot more, because I don't think somebody just jumps into this thing. I think this is many years of mental. This is just her. This is who she is.
Right.
Like, I think this is not something that happened overnight. This is behavior that's been going on for a very long time. And she's just gotten better at it as she's gotten older and done it longer. It's been refined. It's been honed. These are skills. Nobody's this good at manipulation, gaslighting, and lying unless you've been doing it for some time and have lots of practice at it, right? So that's kind of where, and so now ever since Emily came out, so other people have come out also corroborating parts of her story. You know, people have her, you know, there's been a lot going back and forth. So I would say the consensus is that people believe Emily. And that
additionally, Shannon's behavior has been very suspicious.
Yes, she's
deleted her social medias. Yes. She has asked her friends to not speak out on her behalf. She's like tucked tail basically cut herself. She's cut herself off from any network of support that she could possibly have.
And she had support. Her friends really didn't want to believe this.
Her friends
really offered her a lot of help.
Her friends still believe her. Her friends do believe this, but they still want to support her.
Yeah,
they still want to support her. Like I haven't personally seen it with my eyes, but I've heard things that her friends are still doing things to support her.
I am of the belief that her friends don't even know who this person is. Like, I think they're just figuring out right now who they are. They don't even know her. Like, I mean, she put up a facade for everybody.
And these are friends. These are like, I mean, earlier I said that you don't owe me anything, but I consider you a friend. Like, we know each other. We talk outside of YouTube. We have a real connection and friendship.
And she did with some of these people too.
Yeah, these are, that's what I'm saying. These were people that she had an outside connection with.
Except that I think as more and more stuff has come out and as they've all been talking to each other, I think the friendship on their side was very real. I think on Shannon's side, it was very manipulative. She was a love bomber. Yes. She manipulated people. And then, you know, after this all came out, she did her like post about like, I'm not okay. And I just can't believe I have no support and I can't believe nobody's, you know, and that was like a blatant lie to manipulate everybody to feel like sorry for her, because all her friends were like, we're right here, bitch. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yes, absolutely. I'm not talking about her friends. Like, they were real friends. They had real connection to her. And I feel like they still want to support her. They want to help her through this dark time, help her take accountability. You know, they want to help her through this.
I just don't think that Shannon sees people as friends. I think she sees people as chess pieces that she can move around and play with.
Yes, absolutely. And Lane, I agree with you. Someone like this, though, she doesn't even know who she is.
I said this from day one. We're scratching the surface here. You're gonna be hearing about this for a while. Seriously.
But here's the thing. So here's my opinion that I've been chewing on my tongue for, and this is what really irks the crap out of me, and that is that as viewers and as people adjacent to this, we are like chomping at the bit for the salacious details of what is hard to prove, but is a crime.
Yes. Well, here's what I was
People
going to say.
are.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
People are coming forward. Like, there are people who are coming forward as corroborating eyewitnesses to what Shannon has allegedly done.
Right.
And they're making all these statements. And I'm not a lawyer. I don't play one on TV. Maybe if what's her face, Emily Baker sees this, if she comes across this,
right,
maybe she could chime in. You know, I'm not a lawyer. Maybe all these public statements and all these videos of people putting up their receipts. I mean, people are making videos and they're like, I don't have any receipts, but I'm going to tell you about my experience. Like, what? Okay, but it's just gossip then. Like, are you really like being of any help, or are you just adding fuel to the fire?
Well,
this is like a real crime, and to gossip about your experience with Shannon is not helping Shannon get the help that she desperately needs, and it's certainly not helping Emily, and she has been the victim of this crime. And just because Shannon is gone off of social media right now, it doesn't mean that Emily is not still being stalked.
Right.
Well,
I think there's a few things happening here. There's one is the desperate clinging on situation where people will do this for clout. So everyone's going to come out. Of course, everyone's going to come out of the woodwork with whatever the hell they have. If they had really
when they could give it to Emily.
I'm saying, because if they had real solid hardcore evidence and felt like they were really being upset and bothered by this, other than it just being a passing story that they can just throw off, or maybe they will, I don't know, if she needs, they would contact her after hearing this. But here's the thing, is that we have that's definitely a play there. The clout chasing is definitely at play. There's also the people who just want to see, they just want their revenge. They want to see somebody get what they feel is coming to them, which is always, that's human nature, I think, to an extent. But, the part that I find interesting, and you've just said, is that nobody's actually even said the word crime. Like, that's the part that kills me. No. I have not heard that word mentioned yet. All I've heard is, from Emily's side of the point of view is that, she has been in contact with law enforcement, and I guess she's going to, over the years, and I can understand how, if she has been in contact with law enforcement over the years and nothing has really moved forward, I get that, because we both know how that works. I would not be surprised if she's doing something right now behind the scenes as she's talking to people who are probably coming and giving her some more evidence.
And I really hope they are.
I really hope that is, and I really hope that we don't hear about any of it until something has happened, because I think that this is not. It's great for views. Like, let's be honest, for a lot of folks, this is great for views, but this is not how justice is going to get served here. This is not real justice. Justice on YouTube or on social media is not real justice. And as you and I both know, and we will talk about extensively next week on Monday and Wednesday, that people who are victims of stalking lose everything. Can lose everything in their lives. They lose so much. They lose family, they lose friends, they lose jobs, they lose homes, they lose any sense of safety or trust, relationships, because everything is just lost to that. So the C word needs to start being said, and it needs to be followed up on, and justice has to be served in some way here. And I'm not talking about it's great that her numbers are tanking and she's not going to be making a shit ton of money off of being an awful person online anymore. I mean, I would much rather see her
500,000 subscribers that she had, right?
Yeah.
60% of her views were not coming from her
I
subscribers
know.
anymore.
And now, I mean, she's going to make money anyway off her channel, regardless from views that people are going to watch. Whatever she puts out next is going to go off the chart. You know that. So
absolutely.
But like, you know, to me, justice looks a lot more like, you know, having some restraining orders, possibly being on probation, not being able to use an electronic device for, you know, like things like, you know, real life like Law and Order crime shit, like consequences to actual criminal actions.
Absolutely.
And I think that is why we're talking about this, or because it just happened to happen adjacent to what we're talking about on Monday, and we were like, this is a great example of all the crap that happens. So when we look at this situation with Creepshow Art, and how it's just like a huge, it's just like any other, with Emily Artful and her, it's almost like any other stalking case we've heard of. It's just that it's blown up everywhere, and it's enormous size, because we have somebody who is a victim who has been fighting for years to try to get some peace and some, you know, justice for, and some kind of accountability from this, you know, for this, get this person, hold this person accountable. And for whatever reasons, whether the law has said to her that she doesn't have enough evidence, or she, you know, not a crime hasn't been committed, because we all know that, we'll talk more about this next week, but we know the litany of excuses that law and courts give us when we talk about these kinds of crimes. And then we have the perpetrator who's just walking around like, you know,
living life.
The only difference is that, you know, everybody knows it's her, or everybody knows who it is, and they can talk shit about her. And she doesn't have like people who watch YouTube and are fans of her thinking that she's this great person anymore. But otherwise, you know, in her everyday life, her fucking neighbor might still think that she's wonderful, and like, oh my, you know, like, I mean, so the perpetrators, excuse me, are still walking around like nothing's
living
going
their
on.
life, no consequence, still stalking, still committing a crime every day.
This would be an excellent situation for to make somebody an example of. I'm just saying that these are real crimes, and that they have actual like consequences and hurt people.
And I am in no way
putting that out there.
And I'm in no way suggesting that as viewers we are complicit in this crime that Shannon is allegedly committing at all. But we are responsible for how we react now that we are aware of it. And when you know better, you do better. Are we doing better by demanding the salacious details, when in reality what we should be doing is not lifting up this crime as like, this is a potential crime in action?
I would like to see more people talking about it as a crime.
I would like to see the true crime documentary after the punishment has been doled out by the justice system, and after the victim has gotten some peace and is ready to talk about it.
Frankly, I'd like to see, if we're going to have 1 million T channels covering this, or our community covering this, whatever, I would like somebody to start using the word crime adjacent to this in the same sentence with this, because this is all illegal. Like everything that she's been doing, or allegedly been doing, is illegal. So,
and I had to say, I feel like I would like to say to Emily myself, like, if she ever comes across this, like, I apologize, because I was really surprised that she was going to do a video in the first place. Like, I was like, why is she doing a video? Why doesn't she go to the police? Like, I'm sorry for feeling that way. Like, when she did her video, and like, I just like heard her emotion, and I heard all the emotions that she went through to do this video, and I just like felt kind of ashamed of myself for even judging her for how she had to like express herself, because
she did the video the same way, for the same reasons all these people go on this podcast.
And that's exactly,
she wants to be heard.
That's exactly why I felt like I needed to just express that, because you have the right to tell your story on any platform,
and I think that
you want to, and you are not crazy, and this is happening to you, and this is a crime.
This is real.
And
I mean, this is, and I really,
I don't want to know the details. I want you to get justice. Like,
right.
I don't want to be out here looking for the salacious details. I want you to get justice.
I want to hear more conversations about the fact that, like, I said this the other Monday, what pissed me off was the, immediate blowback by people who don't know any better or who don't care to know any better, criticizing her video about types of evidence and not enough and circumstantial and blah, blah, blah. And like, not going to say that I don't get that reaction, because I get where it's coming from. But I wish people would just take 2 steps back for 1 second and maybe just educate themselves a little bit more about stalking and the crime of stalking and what it is like to be stalked. And not even that. How about just take a step back and just do a little research into the process or lack of support that victims of stalking the hoops that they have to jump through in order to get any kind of motion, movement, anything resembling any sense of justice or even or peace, just to get it to stop. I mean, you're talking about a crime where you're a victim. You feel victimized at every moment of this crime. Yet what constitutes you being a victim is not defined by you. It's defined by the justice system. It's defined by the law. It doesn't matter if you feel like your life is threatened, if it doesn't seem like a reasonable, tangible threat or something that's real, or it doesn't happen a number of several times or whatever it is, that's not going to constitute a crime or something that is actionable in the eyes of our justice system and our legal system. And you're left sitting there worrying and waiting for something bad to happen. Yep. And I wish that I heard more conversations about that. Because you want to know why she came out with the video now? Because she finally felt like she could. Because somebody else broke it first, and she wasn't going to make a video stating what she had and what she knew and getting told that she's an awful person, terrible person for making these lies against somebody so beloved. Somebody else took the heat first, opened the door for her to step in to say something. And then she was able to say, this is my reality that I've been living with for X number of years, 8 years, 8+ years. This is what it was like. This is what she does. This is who she is. She's got all of you fooled. This has been my life with her and her ex and
you're exactly right. And that's why I said what I said.
Yeah.
That's why I said what I said.
This is exactly.
And I really hope that she sees this, because nobody else has said this. And I really hope that she sees this and feels at least some validation.
Right. Lane, she was never on the offensive with it. The moment she stepped out, she was always on the defensive. Always. And that's the same thing with most stalking victims. Pretty much they're on the defensive the whole time, because it's your word against somebody else, and that somebody else is normally not present in physical form. They're threatening you in some way that's not tangible, that you can hold in your hands most of the time. It's never in front of anybody. So it's your word against an invisible person where people are like, oh, that behavior is so insane. Why would anybody act that way? This is what you're dealing with. And then it's somebody like Creepshow. If she didn't have that chance, she would never have come. I don't think she'd ever have opened something. And I got to tell you, what aggravates the shit out of me is that it's the same thing with the Strictly Stalking podcast. If that podcast didn't start and people started opening their mouths and speaking their truth, we would never hear 87 episodes of this, because these people don't feel like they have any voice. They feel like if they have a voice, nobody's going to believe them. They've been told that nobody believes them. Everything that they've dealt with, they've been told by multiple places and people,
users, and by the people who are supposed to keep them safe, that I don't believe you.
The system keeps them quiet. And, you know, if you do open your mouth, you're crazy. So I wish that everybody would take a step back and think about that for a minute before we start talking about how everything against Shannon and her husband or partner is circumstantial. And I don't know if I believe that somebody would do that and if that would really happen. Or take a minute and learn a bit about stalking and the types of things that these people do to other people and the effect it has on their life. She might not, you know, like, even if we're lucky she made a video, she could have still been scared shitless, especially now knowing that Shannon's been blown out into the open. I'm sure the first thoughts across her mind were, oh my God, does this mean it's going to get ramped up to me now? Because now she's like freaking out and stressed out. And this is how she handles her anxiety in her life, by lashing out at me and behaving this way. So she didn't even have, you know, it's brave of her to even have said a thing. But she was always coming out on the defensive. It was always going to have to be, here's all my evidence. Now, you know, and it's all my evidence versus the word of somebody who you think is just too nice to do these things. Like, no way. She argues with people that say shit like she fights for people like that. Like, why would, you know, this is the reality of this. And I really hope to God that she is talking to law enforcement. I hope that there are things going on behind the scenes. And I really and truly, truly hope that she gets some kind of resolution to this, even if it's something as simple as being able to get a no contact or a restraining order or something that's solidly in her hand, that anytime after that something happens, she can drag this person back into court and have them held responsible. If for nothing else, then to just have it come out and be public that this is the behavior that's happening right now. Because so much of this is stuff that goes on behind the scenes in the dark, nobody talks about, because who's going to believe me? And you have a justice and legal system that does not help any victims here. It's not on the victim side at all. It might seem like it is, but it's not. When you're asked, you know, when you're only threatened 3 times, but you really need it to be 4 before somebody will take you seriously. I mean, what the hell is that? Like, isn't once enough? Like, isn't me feeling threatened once enough? Apparently, it's not. And when we start talking about the podcast on Monday, and we'll talk about some specific cases, it's not. Once is not enough. Once is not enough. And once you know, getting a couple of really freaky emails, then getting left some voicemail messages, things left in front of your door, you know, people knocking on your window at night, none of that is enough at once, taking in one shot of each thing. Even as a package together, they're not good enough, because it's not a pattern of behavior. Because clearly they have to show up to my house at least 3 or 4 times for it to be a pattern. Plus, then they have to email me 3 or 4 times, and then they have to do. It's fucking ridiculous. It's criminal. Like, it's criminal. It really is. I mean, in every sense, and it's infuriating.
Every sense.
It's absolutely infuriating. And I just hope that the conversation about this takes a turn this way, because this to me is way more important of a topic to talk about in this regard than about, like, oh my God, did you hear what she did this time and what this person has? Now, how about we talk about more about the criminal activity that she's been doing, or how, you know, what they've been up to and how this affects victims, because this is a great way to talk about this crime in general and shed some light on it. Because
I mean, so many of these outraged people are supposedly feminists. I mean, this is domestic abuse. Like,
well, see, that's the part that kills me the most too, is that let's just talk about this for 1 second. I'm going to get into this more next week, because this is something that bothers the shit out of me. So Emily Artful had children. I don't know if she was married or partnered or whatever it was at the time. She did end up homeless. I'm not entirely sure if she was homeless with kids, or I don't know the timeline of her story. But I'd like everybody to consider for a second that if you are a part, it is domestic abuse because it's something that enters your house, your home, your life. But if it was her partner or her ex-husband or her ex-wife or her or possibly a family member, right? But can't prove that it's still him, right? But if it was somebody who she was married to or had some kind of relationship with, that, you know, had a child with, or something where it was a domestic partner or somebody in her, she could partake in all sorts of programs that are there to help victims of domestic violence. There's housing programs, there's shelters, there's job programs, there's all sorts of emergency funding that she could get. But if it's not somebody you are actually in a relationship with and just happens to be a freak show, your ex's freak show girlfriend who's stalking you, who you have no relationship with whatsoever, you don't qualify for any of those, because this is not somebody who you had a partnership with or had any kind of relationship with. And this is the same thing that goes for anybody else who's a victim of stalking, who doesn't know their stalker. Where it's not somebody they're acquainted with, knew, partnered with, whatever. If it's somebody who, you know, if it's a complete stranger or somebody you may have like passed on the street or acquaintance, but if you have had no sense of a meaningful domestic relationship with them, you don't qualify for any kind of services or help. It's not considered domestic violence. It's not considered domestic abuse. It has to be partner abuse or something like that. So we've heard about this on the podcast from women who've said, one woman said 67 agencies denied her services because the person who was stalking her was not her partner, not a partner, not a family member, nothing like that. It was not considered domestic violence. So
there is a program called Safe at Home. I don't know. It gives you a confidential address, but I don't know if that would.
I don't know. I mean, I just know from what she was. I haven't looked at it. I was going to do a lot of prep work.
But yeah,
but
you actually
know, the emergency
were like 2
shelters
podcasts ahead of me.
Oh, was I?
Okay. I stopped at the one right before that lady with the kid.
Yeah, the emergency shelters would not take her. They did not consider her. They did not consider her fleeing a partner. She was assaulted in her house 3 times in her own home. I mean, like, this is what we're talking about. This is the insanity that this is all wrapped up in, and the web of just the hurdles that these victims have to jump through. So I don't want to really hear another person tell me, why did Emily wait so long to say anything, or why didn't she do something, or her evidence is so circumstantial. You know, the other part we have to remember here too, let's just pull it back from it. You know why the evidence is so circumstantial? Because these people know exactly what the fuck they're doing. Yes. And they do it this way on purpose.
Yes.
They do it so that there's minimal to no evidence or anything that can trace back to them. The ones who are smart know how to do it really, really well. The ones who are not as smart, you get circumstantial evidence. But these people know exactly what they're doing, how they're going to do it. It's thought out. It's planned. They put a lot of time and effort into this. So I don't want to even hear about how evidence is flimsy, because it's like you're trying to get evidence of a ghost. That's the reality. So that's our primer on Creepshow Art leading into Monday. Monday, we are going to start our discussion on the Scripted Stalking podcast. Again, I highly recommend listening to it. It's a difficult one to listen to. Yes,
it is. It is. I haven't been able to listen to it anymore.
It's heartbreaking. It's really hard.
I can't do it. I did my little binge. I had to stop.
It's hard. It's really, really hard. for everybody who thought that maybe Emily was just like, acting or really, overdoing her emotional feelings during this discussion on her video, take a listen to this podcast and tell me about what you think, because I'm sorry, I don't know, 87 people getting that upset talking about similar stories, or not even similar stories, just crazy shit that's happening to them. I don't know. I mean, I think that maybe it's bothersome to them. It really is bothering me. I'm really, I don't know. This situation has bothered me a lot more than I thought it was going to bother me. I mean,
I'd heard of Creepshow. I'd never seen anything by her ever. I'd seen one Emily video like months ago, and I had never seen anything by Creepshow, and this caught my attention immediately.
Yeah, it was a very sinister episode of Catfish. No shit. And the other part of it is, it's almost like, I hate to be like this, but, she almost discussed it like she enjoyed it. Like she enjoyed having a stalker when she talked about it.
Who, Emily?
No, Shannon. I don't remember hearing her breaking down and first of all, let's back up for who the fuck befriends their stalker after they've been stalked for 8 years. So let's just pull that one up right away, okay? That's some dumbass bullshit right there, okay?
Because let me tell you something.
Let me tell you something. All these people on the podcast are way better human beings than me, because every single time they're asked what they would like to see happen to their stalker, 9 out of 10 of them, probably even 10, are like, I just want to see them get some help. Motherfucker, I want a gun to their head and them buried under the ground 6 feet if I had to deal with any of the shit that these people were doing. So for her to be like, I befriended my stalker after she did all that, are you fucking kidding me? Give me a break, okay? That right there should have been the first clue to everybody that that's some dumbass shit right there. And I have to admit, I did say to myself when I heard that, I was like, it must not have been that bad of a stalking if you're going to become friends with her afterwards. Like, because I mean, like, I wouldn't stay friends with the stalker. I mean, I wouldn't even stay friends with people I dated and we broke up amicably. I'm not going to fucking befriend a stalker, for fuck's sake. So, like, but I think it was almost like she enjoyed talking about it because, 1, it gave her attention, and 2, it brought in views, right? And it made her sympathetic, I guess. I don't know. So, it takes a really special kind of narcissistic sociopath to do that. It's bad enough that you're a fucking stalker, but then to lie about having your own stalker is just like, it just ticks that shit up a notch to the nth degree. I think, that's what bothers me more. I find the stalking allegations deplorable, but I find the fact that she would fucking lie about having a stalker to just be even like, it's just like the icing on the shitty ass insanity cake, the audacity. Like, bitch, you don't even know what these people go through that are real victims of stalking, and you're going to sit here and pretend like you have one. Okay.
She knows what they go through because she puts them through it.
Right. And then befriend them at the end of it. Okay. Sure. That's like, to me, the biggest slap in the face.
The happy ending.
Yeah, right. A happy ending with my stalker. Okay.
That's a massage parlor I don't want to go to.
Hell no. I mean, like,
thank you.
It just makes you, and it's just, I don't know. Like, I mean, like I said, I was not a huge fan of hers. I didn't watch, I watched a bunch of her videos that I thought were maybe possibly interesting topics, but I never was like, oh my God, live for her content, blah, blah, blah. But, it's interesting thinking about all of it now with this information and looking back and looking at the light that you might put it through. It's a lot of pick me bullshit, look at me bullshit, manipulate my emotion, make me feel bad for me. I'm just such a wonderful, and again, I would like to remind the audience that, people who are good people generally don't have to tell you every fucking 5 minutes that they're such wonderful people. Okay. Generally their behavior
people who are good people still do bad things and make mistakes.
Yeah.
What makes them good people is that they take responsibility for it, and they just move on. Like, they don't dwell on it. They just move on. Like, it is what it is. Like,
and they generally are confident in the fact that they're good people. They don't need to be, constantly reminding you or themselves of how wonderful they are.
Right. You don't need that reassurance from anybody.
Frankly, I mean, personally, again, to me, it's about your behavior. So I don't really even know what the fuck you could say to somebody to reassure them. You're such a good person.
Person.
No. How about you just be a good person? Like, that's, we don't need to talk about it. Just do it.
You're such a good person.
She was twisting one storyline, but then wanted it to be hers. Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, it's going to be, I don't want to know. I don't really want to know any of the salacious details, but it would be interesting to find out when she crossed the line between like joining her boyfriend or whatever in his like little obsession. Because I guarantee you that she had this predisposition for this behavior, and she did it to other people. It sounds like she was a real peach. Sounds like she was a real peach to her sister. So, excuse me. So, it'll be, if anything, I'd like to see a timeline come out of events that happens after they're both found guilty of actually fucking committing a crime. That would be nice.
That would be so nice. That would be nice.
It would be. It would be. But anyhow, we'll double back to this on Monday, I'm sure. Yes. So guys, Strictly Stalking on your podcast platform of choice. Check it out. Even if you listen to 1 or 2 episodes,
it's worth it.
It's worth it. We're going to talk about it. It's a wild ride. It's a very emotional ride. It's infuriating. It's sad. It's how you just want to hug these people, really. No, there was that one. We'll talk about it. I had never been compelled to send an email to anybody in my life after listening to something on a podcast. But man, I was like hovering over the keyboard, just being like, I'm so sorry. Like, I just want to be like, I mean, it's rough. It's rough. So we're going to talk about that next week, Monday. It's going to be a 2-parter for sure, because it's too much to go into. And again, we will be, the emphasis, I hope, I'm planning the emphasis to be on the criminal aspect of the behavior that these people are suffering from, and the insanity to which people have to go to get any sort of justice or resolution.
Yes.
And, how many of the people on the podcast are still being stalked, are still, there has been no end.
Yep.
I think there was one that was like, yeah, it ended because he died.
Yeah. 40 years.
40 years. 40
That's
years.
the longest one I heard so far.
40. That's your entire life. That's your entire
40
life.
years.
No, I can't imagine that. Because I mean, we'll talk more about it Monday, because I'm just going to start going off on a rant.
I know. I hear it. I hear it coming.
It's upsetting. I cannot underline enough that it's the sense of loss that these people endure and feel is just immeasurable. And on every front, every aspect of their life, the sense of loss. I mean, your life is no longer your own. You have somebody in your life constantly that you've not invited in. So that is Monday and Wednesday's topics. 7 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. PDT over here on our channel. I will hopefully be able to do a lot of prep this weekend, and we will have everything preloaded. We'll have links preloaded. We'll have everything. I'll have the art done. If I would have done it normally, except I had no access to the internet and I can't do it at work. So, Angie, thank you so much for having this conversation with me. I know how important this is to you. I can't wait to talk Monday. I don't know beyond Wednesday what we're going to do. Did you want to do a discussion did you want to do a book club type thing, or did you want to just keep that you and me talking to the peeps about it?
Well, we got to finish the book first.
I'm halfway done.
Oh my God. I knew you were going to do this. I'm on chapter 4.
Well, we might do a book club type thing next month, at the end of next month. I have to find us a podcast to talk about at the end of next month too. So we'll figure something out. But I don't know what's coming.
Do this.
Well, I'm sorry. I read fast. I'm sorry.
How the hell you're halfway done? You just got it yesterday. I mean, it's not like it's like high level reading or nothing, but golly.
Because I like to read. I read fast. I read fast.
My friend, the librarian. Good
That's
God.
right. I'm hoping we can find it in the true crime case to talk about. I'm gonna like find something. Yeah. See, I'm now we're hitting like 8:30 and I'm like, my brain is starting to shut down. You can see me right now. Okay, so guys, I don't know what the
Oh, you're right. You're right, Lane. No internet. Okay.
No internet.
Okay.
She said no internet.
Yeah, no internet yesterday.
I didn't.
I literally read one chapter.
I actually read the book, read some of the book, and then I was reading a different book by Jeremy Bates, a book of short stories, and everybody was so they made me read the story out loud because they were like, "Let's just read." And I was like, because my response to no internet last night was to come home and take a book off the shelf. Everybody else's response was to like sit around like, "Oh my God, there's no internet." So that should show you the difference in my house. I was like, even Scott was like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm gonna read." I was like,
what is that thing? What is that thing?
So next week is Monday and Wednesday. It's definitely gonna be on stalking. I don't know what we're gonna do in the future. I will figure something out. Angie we'll talk, and you'll either come up with something, or I'll come up with something, or we'll both come up with something.
We'll come up with something.
But so we'll come up with something topical and interesting, at least to us. So, but
and
thank you.
If you come across this, our email is.
Oh, I have it's. I gotta look. You gotta make me look now.
I don't even know our email.
It's IamTakingTheL@gmail.com.
That is IamTakingTheL@gmail.com. If you have a topic, let us know.
Yeah,
let us know.
Or you can tweet me at Pigs in Space on Twitter.
Yes.
You can leave a comment on YouTube. You can leave a comment here. So like get in touch if you want to talk about something or you want a question. But I will make sure that we are fully prepared on Monday because this is going to be a big one.
It's going to be a big one.
It'll be fun, but not really. But really. So thank you to everybody who tuned in tonight in the chat. Thank you, Lane. Thank you, Big Boss.
I miss you, Lane.
Thank you to those who were lurking. We see you. We appreciate you. Thank you to everybody who's going to catch this on the replay. We appreciate that.
Team replay.
Team replay. If you're looking for more of our content that's not on Twitch, because Twitch only keeps a certain number of past streams, go to our YouTube channel, I'll Take the L, where it's all saved from the beginning when we started streaming this way. We have some good content there. I keep pushing it because the more I think about it, we've got some good content. We're smart people over here. We're some smarties.
She's the smarter one, though.
No, that's not true.
She's the brains of the operation.
Not at all. At least half the brain, maybe half the brain. I'll take half. Take half credit.
She's the librarian half.
If you're looking for any other content to try out on Twitch, please consider the list of streamers that we link to off of our channel page. We have some really great DJs. We have some gamers. So check those folks out. They were all very kind to us when we started on this channel, and they continue to put out fantastic content, and we support them immensely. So please check them out if you're looking for something that's, again, not chicks and hot tubs, although I still think that's brilliant. I stand by my statement. That's brilliant. I'll tell you. Hot tub coming soon. No, kidding. That's why I was cleaning out the office. We'll put the hot tub right here.
Oh my God.
Thank you again, everybody. If you like the content, please consider liking and subscribing to us on YouTube. If Twitch is more your jam, please consider following and subscribing to this channel. We appreciate all your support on Twitch. We love Twitch. Twitch is our platform of choice because we love the community here. It's a lot of fun, and people are really down for the conversation and for discussion, and they're very supportive of one another. We like that. We like that in the community. We love love that in an online community. So Twitch is my preferred platform. It grows on me every day. I love it more. So if you consider wanting to give us some support, subscribing to the channel is one way to do it, or you can send us Venmo, Cash App, tip us that way, send us some bits, however you want to do it. We accept all forms of appreciation. We love the follows and the likes and subs. That's what we love. So give us check us out on those platforms. And
hugs too.
Big hugs too. Yes, we love hugs. Hugs are good. Hugs are good. And if you know anybody who you think would like this content, feel free to share. We do lots of different content. We do whatever the hell we think is interesting. We try to stay topical, and we try to throw some feelings in there, but we try to actually have some facts to back up what we talk about. So I will also have lots of stalking facts for us next week too.
I haven't cried yet. I don't think I've cried yet.
Why would you cry? Death for Twitch.
Because feelings.
Hey, death for Twitch. Feelings. I get in my feelings way more than Angie does. Way more than I do. Way more. Except I haven't cried. I have yelled though. I've yelled a lot. I have gotten very, very yelly. So there you have it, guys. We look forward to the conversation on Monday. Again, it's going to be a good one. It's going to be a very passionate one. I'm just warning everybody. I will be yelling. I'm sure I will.
There will be yelling. Get the beating stick.
There will be yelling. Mostly because I'm frustrated and annoyed at our legal system and people in general, but mostly the legal system. So prepare yourselves. But again, listen to some of the episodes because I'd love to hear how upset you are by some of this stuff too. And having said, I think that's everything. I think we've covered everything, right?
How pissed off you are.
Yeah, how pissed off you are. How pissed off are you? So again, if you again, you can catch me. Oh, Angie doesn't have Twitter anymore, but I do. So if you have any comments or anything you'd like to say, get me at Pigs in Space, same name, no underscore on Twitter. It's linked off of our Twitch page. So there you can contact me there. So again, having said that, time to say goodnight because I'm like fading right now. Fading.
She went to bed too early yesterday.
I woke up too early. I woke up too late. I gotta do back and chest tomorrow, Ange. Come on, give me a break. Yes, you came in.
Oh my God.
That's for Twitch. You came in. You can definitely check through it. Can you tell me who you are, just so I know? Because I'm not good with the Twitch handles. You don't have to if you don't want to out yourself. But do I know you? That's all I ask.
You doxed yourself. You doxed yourself.
Oh, shut up. We do not. I don't dox anybody. No doxing. I only dox myself.
Oh.
I don't have a problem with it. My name is everywhere. So if you don't know who I am by this point, you know me as Death on Twitter. Okay, yes. All right, you're right, Death. I'm sorry. I did not make the connection. Yes, I know exactly who you are. Yeah, check the replay. It was what it was. What do you? Yes, Death Valley. Yes. What are you laughing at? Am I that funny to you?
Yes, you're very funny.
Mm-hmm.
You're very funny.
Okay. Not really. But
you crack me up.
I amuse myself. That's all that's important. Okay, guys. I gotta go because my throat, I'm just like.
Your stage coach is about to turn into a pumpkin.
It's about to turn into a pumpkin. And I gotta get the kids in bed too because it's 8:45. Mom. We'll be changing our names. We're all changing. Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Everybody's changing their names.
We're all turning over a new leaf. We're just like, fuck that. I'm just I'm just different now. I've grown.
Not me. I've had my same name for 14 years on Twitter and here. I
retired my original name on Twitter.
Point of pride, 4:45 in the UK. Yeah. Point of pride. I'm Pigs in Space on Twitter without any kind of number or any kind of weird character after. I am the only one, the only, the original. Somebody asked me last night, why did you choose that name?
I'm a beautiful butterfly.
Because I like the Muppet Show, and I was looking at my Pigs in Space lunchbox when I created the account. Anyway, that's right. Right, that's right. Okay, guys. It's Wednesday night, which means it's 80s night on the Real DJ Danny P's channel. And if he's streaming right now, we're missing it. So I got to get on there and like enjoy it. All right, guys. Have a great night. We're still streaming. I know. All right. Good night, y'all. Catch you on the
Good night, you
replay.
guys.
Thank you, Angie. Thank you. It's been wonderful. Have a good night, everybody.